What's going on, Reject Nation? Greg Alba here.
And it's John over here.
So we're going to talk about some movie news of the week.
Boy, howdy.
Alright, here we go. So for our full extended movie news segment, you can go over to our Patreon, but we'll cover the top two biggest ones over here today. Starting off with Venom movie. The Venom movie, it's announced that the villain in it is going to be the popular Spider-Man villain, Carnage. Carnage is going to be in here, and a little breakdown of notes that we took here. In the comics, it's Cletus Cassidy, and Cassidy he was a prison cellmate with Brock.
Yeah.
Eddie Brock. Yeah, he was a prison cellmate with Brock. Brock escaped with the symbiote, and then the symbiote left some behind.
Yeah, that goo gets everywhere,
Cassidy,
you know. Eventually there will be 7 of these people, so...
So, basically... Okay, I think this kind of seemed like a repetitive thing to have, like, oh, 2 bad anti-Spider-Mans.
Venom versus worse Venom.
Yeah, but that's really the only thing I guess they can do to make Venom stand out a little bit more.
Is give you 2 villains we've been really wanting to see
in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. And I guess it makes sense that Venom should be the protagonist, but that's I guess it's a little kooky to me. I know he's got his own comics series,
I mean,
so it's not that weird.
I'm kind of worried that I might be watching this movie with Venom and Carnage in it going, 2 people who are like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's not in it.
I don't know. This could go, like, I can see a version of this where I get really invested, because I do just like Venom. I thought Venom was really cool. I have Venom memorabilia. And I even, back when I was, like, trying to get more into comics, I bought some just Venom solo books.
Yeah.
But it's going to have to be, like, really well done for me to not be thinking about Spider-Man.
I mean, the one good thing about it, though, is that at least Venom, the movie, because... as much as we wanted to see Venom rebooted and put in as Spider-Man's villain in a solo Spider-Man film, at least we're going to get Carnage being introduced as a villain and not some anti-hero, as like how Venom's being introduced here. Because so like Venom is the anti-hero, and then Carnage is worser Venom.
Crazier Venom.
Crazier, with lots of powers, all similar to Venom and Spider-Man. But I don't know, I feel like that could be a good idea, actually. Yeah. Because I feel like it's a good way to kind of give us the whole idea of, you know, it was like Spider-Man versus Venom was Spider-Man versus bad version of Spider-Man. Now it's like, okay, well, Venom, and now we'll get worse version of Venom versus each other. And this could be like an ultimate baddie fest, I feel, of the anti-Spider-Man. You know?
Well, and I mean, this is... you know, a decent way to open up to including the 7 symbiotes and all that. So, you know.
And if this is connected, I mean, we haven't gotten any clarification yet from Kevin Feige since that hilarious meme's been going around. Or sad Feige, or whatever the thing they did with Ben Affleck. Yeah. But if it is connected in any way to the MCU, if that is true, Amy Pascal, you know, saying that it's connected to the MCU world, if that remains true. It would be cool if you had, like, these people who were, you know, versing each other in one movie, and then maybe down the road in a Spider-Man movie, they're now teaming up to, like, take down Spider-Man. At the same time, I would have just preferred if Spider-Man versus Venom in a solo movie and Spider-Man versus Carnage in a solo movie. But at the same time, people might find that in terms of movie world a little repetitive if you're just getting 2 evil Spider-Men for 2 separate Spider-Man films.
Dude, you bring Carnage in Act 3.
Yeah.
Bloat that thing.
So you get Carnage and Venom all in this one movie. And so I think this could be a really cool thing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely brings me back over to the, check out Venom side of the spectrum. So, yeah. I know people have been looking forward to Carnage, and I have been too.
And some people prefer Carnage over Venom.
Yeah. So either way, you could get exactly what you want.
Yeah, that's why I think it'll be cool, because you're getting 2 of the anti-Spider-Men versing each other in this one movie, which I think is one way to make it a cool standalone Venom film.
For sure.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they have left the Han Solo project with only 3.5 weeks left to film, supposedly.
Oh boy, that's not much time.
Due to creative differences.
And from everything I've read, which has been a lot lately, it sounds like there were some pretty big creative differences.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that Phil Lord and Chris Miller They like to infuse a lot of humor, and they can get rather meta with their humor too. And I'd imagine if they're doing a Han Solo origin story, or I don't know if it's like about his birth, but you know what I mean, like I got the Millennium Falcon,
the come up of Han Solo.
Yeah. So if you're having all that in there, I'd imagine they would infuse a lot of comedy and maybe even make some meta references in their film, which I'm sure would not go well with with Disney over with their Star Wars films, because it might not just fit tonally at all with the rest of their movies.
Yeah.
So I could kind of understand the creative differences. However, I wanted Phil Lord and Chris Miller to do that. I felt like I feel like Force Awakens, especially with Rogue One being a prequel movie.
And a different kind of Star Wars movie, a little bit.
I feel like they would have made it different, and it could have been a really fun. I feel like it would have been cool to get a really funny Han Solo movie, because Han Solo, he is the funniest one out of the original crew.
Yeah.
He has a sense of humor, and I would have been okay with that. And now they've got Ron Howard stepped in here to take over the director's seat for the remainder of filming and reshoots and post. Which I guess is fine. I think it's honestly it's caused it's not the hiring of Ron Howard that has caused me to doubt the quality of this film. It's the fact of a director has left, a few weeks left in the filming, and now it's like it doesn't matter who they would get in to take up the mantle here. I feel like regardless, I'd be concerned, and I am concerned for the film, because this is very much a studio executive movie at this point. It's not. I felt like what was cool about Rogue One was Gareth Edwards. Yeah, Gareth. Yeah, right.
Gareth Edwards is Rogue One, Godzilla, Monsters.
Yes. Gareth Edwards. I thought his version of it was like, this seems like what Gareth Edwards set out to do, and he was able to do it. I know they had some reshoots and some conflicts over with Disney, but it seems like overall he got to make a pretty unique standalone Star Wars film. Yeah. And here, it just seems like they're really trying to mold it into what the studio execs want it to be. And Ron Howard just seems like a fill-in director. He just seems like someone who's going to do what the studio execs want him to do. Because Ron Howard, hasn't had a hit or a good movie in a very long time. I feel like the last one he did that was well received was Rush, but no one really turned out for that. Then you got films like the third Da Vinci Code movie, Inferno, In the Heart of the Sea, Dilemma. You got these. It's some pretty awful Ron Howard films. And I'm just thinking he's going to just show up and he's just going to do what these studio execs want him to do. He's not going to bring anything really unique to it.
Oh, I feel like that would be anybody coming into this position now. Because they said, I heard the other rumor was Joe Johnston. And I was like, hey, I feel like that would have been a better choice. Because the thing about Ron Howard, too, is like, even though his filmography has gotten shaky lately, if he's going to step into Star Wars, I would want that to be for his own Star Wars movie and not for the last 3 weeks of this Star Wars movie. And those are assured hands. Like, good, you get at least a proven filmmaker. Sure.
Because a good example of this was Superman 2 with Robert
Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. So who was the director of it again? The original director, Richard Donner. Yeah, not Robert. Richard Donner. With Richard Donner's Superman 2, how like 70 to 80% of that film was shot, and then they had another director come in to finish up the rest of the movie. And Superman 2 wasn't a bad film. It's definitely better than Superman 3 and 4, and better than Superman Returns. But people really loved the Richard Donner Superman 2 cut that he put together. Yeah, that was really cool. And I know they didn't finish filming on this, but I feel like it might be kind of cool to get a cut of Phil Lord and Chris Miller's. I don't know if they have enough footage to actually put one together, but it would be cool to get that. I just think that when you do this, you're probably, and with everything that Phil Lord and Chris Miller shot, I'm sure there've been disagreements all along the way of filming this movie. I can't imagine just, it was only the last few weeks when we started having disagreements, then we left. I'd imagine there's disagreements all around. So you're probably going to, I feel like we'll get some tonal inconsistencies, some weird structure. That's what I worry about when you replace a director this late into the game of filming.
Oh yeah, I mean, this story too, I don't know at this point what to feel about this movie anymore, because the more stories I've read about it, the more just shaky the whole enterprise becomes. Because you think about how big and how many moving parts these movies have, like they've got to be approved before you go in. And I heard, you know, whoever the lead actor is said, like, he was the first one to bring up concerns about, like, their on-set demeanor is a little laid back and they're changing stuff around and now it feels like a Jim Carrey comedy.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm hearing that and I'm like, well, this does sound strange, you know, and yeah, like, there seems to be such a dissonance with this project and I don't know, you know, who's sniping at who and why. So yeah, this is coming across to me like a big old mess. And if you're bringing somebody in to fix it by the end, what it sounds like they're gonna have to reshoot a lot of it.
You have to because Phil Lord and Chris Miller shot most of the movie already.
If you're this deep, like,
and it's like Ron Howard's style was totally different than Phil Lord and Chris Miller's style.
Yeah, and like, I get why it's distressing to hear, like, oh, like, really broad comedy. And I know Disney said, like, you know, they're going for more of the comedic angle on Han Solo instead of the, you know, scoundrel angle. And I'm like, he's a scoundrel, but we still love him, though. He's not that bad of a guy. Like, he's a fine guy enough. So, I have very kind of low expectations for how this is going to turn out right now.
As do I, John, as do I. Alright guys, well, like we said earlier, you can catch our full segment over at Patreon, cover a few more stories. What we do on YouTube is we get the biggest one, but then Patreon we just cover like the ones throughout the week that we thought were interesting.
60% more news.
If you really like talking about, if you really like hearing us talk,
like hearing us talk about the news of the week.
Subscribe, notification bells, John Humphrey, John Humphrey, links in social media, all in the description box. Go check it out. Goodbye.